Hey, what's up everyone? This is Matthew Dale here with another lesson to help you play better, sound great, and understand more. And one of the most common complaints I hear from my guitar students is how do I explore more of the neck when I'm improvising a solo? How do I break out of the box? How do I play up and down the neck? Those sorts of things. So if you, like those students, are feeling stuck within one particular shape or box, and you want to break out of that box, if you want to have a better understanding of the music you're playing or the notes you are choosing within an improvisation, stick around because this lesson is going to help you out. So first, I want you to think about how you first started improvising guitar solos. For a lot of us, it probably looked something like this. We were sitting with a teacher and the teacher said, hey, here is the A minor pentatonic scale. I'm going to play that, and you can use that scale shape to play a solo. And our solo probably sounded something like this. You know, just sort of nonsense exploring that scale shape. And that's really only one aspect of stuff that we need to know in order to improvise a solo on the guitar. The problem with that is it puts the scale shape up on a pedestal. It makes learning scale shapes a precedent rather than learning how to play and express music yourself. So if we want to learn how to express ourselves more across the entire fretboard, the answer isn't learning more scale shapes or more scales across the neck. It's actually quite the opposite. It's going to be forgetting temporarily about those scale shapes across the neck and really practicing improvising only using one string at a time. I first heard about this method when reading through a book called The Advancing Guitarist by Mick Goodrick. It's a really, really great advanced guitar improv book. And I'm going to kind of distill it down here for you and offer some of my own twists on this. But essentially, if we are practicing improvising and we don't rely on any scale positions to play our solo, we only have just raw music to go off of. So if I play something like the E major scale across just one string, and I use that as my framework for improvising a solo, I'm not going to be able to really rely on any sort of muscle memory. I'm going to have to think through my solo using only musical intervals. Now, this is really only step one of two. So step one is just break everything down and only practice improvising on one string at a time. Now, as a review for some of us, and this might be new for others, that's okay as well, let's go ahead and talk about the major scale when we apply it just to one string. So my backing track that I have up here is in E, so we're going to play an E major scale. So from our high E string, our major scale formula is this. I'm going to go up a whole step or 2 frets, another whole step, another 2 frets, half step, 1 fret, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So whole, half, whole, half. Now you can find this written out and broken down even further if you head down to the description box below and download my Essential Music Theory cheat sheet. I've got all 12 keys, all chords and all keys, and a plethora of other essential music theory knowledge condensed into one document. I use this all the time with my private lesson students, and it is a great way to build a solid musical foundation. So I'm going to be referencing a lot of stuff that's in that document. If you want to download that, then head down to the description box below and click on the link. After you familiarize yourself with the half step, whole step concept, you're going to want to quickly go into thinking about this in numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, half step between 3 and 4, and then 5, 6, 7, and then back to 1. So half step between 7 and 1. So I'm going to just use this 1 octave on the E string to play through a improvised solo with my backing track in E. So here's a run through. Right, so nothing too complicated. The idea isn't to rip a shredding solo here, but to really explore music. Things that you really want to avoid when you are doing this is just playing up and down the neck, right? You want to try to explore yourself musically. So think about skipping in intervals, think about phrases, think about other expressive techniques like bends, slides maybe. And other stuff like that. You really want to kind of explore your entire palette. And then as you get comfortable on one string, you want to move over to all the other strings on the guitar as well. So I'm going to move over to the B string and do another run through. And I'm also going to reduce the number of notes that I'm playing. So again, going back to the idea of the number system, again, here's another plug for my free guide, The Essential Music Theory Cheat Sheet. If we're familiar with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, again, that's played on the B string, the major pentatonic scale is actually a reduction of that. So we're going to eliminate the 4th degree and the 7th degree of the scale, which sounds like this. And that's our major pentatonic. Maybe you've never quite thought of major or minor pentatonic as a reduction from our 7-note scales, but it makes things a little bit clearer. And practicing our pentatonic scales on one string gets us already sort of breaking out or able to transition from box to box. So here we go. I'm going to be on the B string now playing pentatonic, and let's do another run through. Maybe minor pentatonic, right? So that would be, I'm gonna pause this, that would be mixing major and minor pentatonic as well to, bring out some bluesy context in our playing. Minor pentatonic is 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, and 1. So again, when I reduce it down to just a single string, I have to, there's no other way around it, I have to think about the music that I'm playing in an intervallic sense. I'll do this again and I'll mix major, minor, pentatonic. I'll tell you when I'm switching through. Here's minor. Back to major. Minor. Major, minor, back to major, major scale, minor pentatonic, major pentatonic, right? So being able to transition quickly between different expressions of scale is really good to do this as well. So I mentioned that was step 1, and that's really, really, really good practice. You can stay there for a long time just on each and every individual string, and that can be great practice. But some real magic happens when you start using 2 strings at a time. So I did a little bit of work on the high E string and the B string. Now I'm going to allow myself a little more leeway. I can use the E string and the B string both in an improvisation. So here we go. I'm going to start major pentatonic. Maybe minor pentatonic. Brought it back major. Minor. Mixing major, minor. And so on and so forth, right? You get the idea. The amazing thing that happens is you see all the possibilities of these micro shapes. Rather than learning one large shape, across all 6 strings, you kind of see these small shapes emerging. So if I play all of these little shapes up the neck, and then we're back up to the octave. So now, after really getting comfortable on 2 strings at a time and seeing those little micro shapes take place, this starts sounding less and less like a practice, an improvisation practice method, and more like you're just taking an actual solo. And the lines become blurred between all of your scale shapes that you might know because you're thinking intervallically about the music you're playing. You're not looking for the answers within scale shapes, you know the music and you're finding ways to express that music on the guitar. Of course, you don't want to just, stop on the E and B string. You want to take this 2-string method across all of the strings. So all of the 2-string adjacent string sets, E and B and G, G and D, D and A, and then A and E. And then really what happens is you kind of forget about the scale shapes and you just worry about playing the music that you have in your head. So I promise you, if you implement this, this will make you a better guitar player and you will play better, sound great, and understand more. My name is Matthew Dale. Remember to download the Essential Music Theory cheat sheet for all of those scale formulas in the description box below. I'm going to play you out playing on 2 strings at a time in this E backing track. I'll see you guys next time.